Absolute value equations homework. Let's go ahead and get started with just some numeric absolute values. First off, what is an absolute value? My favorite definition is that it is a number's distance on the number line away from zero. And because distances are always positive, it doesn't matter if we start with a negative or a positive, the answer is always positive. -4 is 4 units away. That's our final answer. 23 is 23 units away. So you could think about this as an operation that just takes a number and then makes it positive. So 0, well, 0 is not really positive or negative, but it is 0 units away from 0 on the number line. So we know that the absolute value of 0 is definitely 0. Now number 4 takes it a step further, where we have to calculate the absolute values first. So the absolute value of 6 stays at 6. The absolute value of -5 goes to +5, and then calculate what this is. So 6 minus 1 is 5. 5 plus 5 equals 10. All right, now when we have a variable, well, the absolute value brackets normally take a number, and if it's positive, they leave it alone. And if it's negative, they make it positive. But we don't know if our variable is positive or negative, so we have to deal with the two cases separately. Maybe it's positive, in which case the brackets can just be dropped. This can become just an n equals 1. Or maybe it's negative, in which case that brackets become a negative parentheses to flip it back to being positive. If I finish solving this, I get that n equals -1. So n equals 1 and n equals -1. By the same logic, this one here is 4 and -4. This one here is b equals 2 and b equals -2. And m equals 6 and -6. But now if we've got some more operations, like in problem number 9, you got to get rid of those first before you do the whole thing where we split it into the two cases. So like, let me add 1 to both sides here. Now I've got the absolute value of n equals 5. So n equals 5, or negative parentheses n equals 5, which quickly becomes n equals -5. So 5 and -5. All right, but with a problem like number 13, there's no operations outside that can be dealt with, but we're going to have to do more operations once we split this. So I split it into the positive case, -3v equals 6, and the negative case, let me do it over here, negative parentheses, -3v equals 6. And then I have to keep solving. So divide both sides by -3 here, we get v equals -2. Over here, negative distributes to the negative. This becomes a positive 3v equals 6. Divide both sides by +3, and we get v equals 2. All right, you might be saying, well, isn't it always just plus or minus the same number? 14 is an exception to that rule. So let's split 14 into the two cases. We have the k minus 6 equals 11 case. The brackets just disappear. And then we have the negative parentheses k minus 6 equals 11 case. To finish solving the first case, we add 6 to both sides. We get k equals 17. And to finish solving over here, we must distribute the negative first. Negative k plus 6 equals 11. Subtract 6 from both sides. Negative k equals 5. And divide both sides by -1. So we get very different answers. K equals 17 and k equals -5. All right, let's just try one of these harder ones. We'll try 17. What I'm going to do is I got to get rid of that divide by 8 first. It's all the way outside of my absolute value bracket, so I can do this. So now I've got the absolute value of x plus 8 equals, not 10, I just added, 16. Now we're going to split it into the two cases. X plus 8 equals 16, and negative parentheses x plus 8 equals 16. And then finish solving. Subtract 8 from both sides. X equals 8. Negative x minus 8 equals 16. Add 8 to both sides. Negative x equals 24. Divide both sides by -1. X equals -24. And those are our two answers for 17. All right, that's it for this homework help video. Hope you have a good rest of your day.